Welcome to Inquiry Theory. I'm Micah.
And I'm Ethan.
And today we are going to do a little bit, kind of like a topic episode, not really just something we wanted to talk about. It's going to be a little more structured than our usual. Not so many tangents to be flying around. So, Ethan, what have we done recently? What did we just get done doing?
Well, we went to the square in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The square, or downtown Murfreesboro, and we asked some people what they thought about high and low trust societies.
Yes, we did. It was a very fun time, very interesting time.
It was a good time.
A lot better than I expected. I wasn't sure. We hit Nashville one time, and so we were kind of like, "Hey, let's check out someplace not so hectic."
Yeah,
and I think it was a good place to go chat with people.
It was a good vibe.
Yeah. So the reason we do this with these kind of topic episodes, but the reason we go out and get these interviews is because we kind of believe that these are topics that people should sit down and talk about and discuss. And I think a lot of today's discourse goes over each other's heads, especially online. But even in person sometimes, and I think it's due to the misunderstanding of someone else's perspective. You don't quite follow what they're getting. You don't know what they're saying, because how can you have a conversation with somebody if you don't know where they're coming from on that topic? So the purpose of this interview is just to kind of really get a feel for what normal, people you see walking on the street think.
Yeah.
Pretty much as simple as that. We aren't doing this, to reiterate, we don't do this as kind of like, we don't do gotchas. We literally go out and let people answer. This isn't a way to correct people or get a specific answer. Like, we are just there, what do you think? Tell us. And, something I noticed is people kind of like to share their thoughts on these things in a way that they find constructive.
Yeah. I mean, this day, I think it's important also because, especially now with like social media and stuff, you see a lot of influencers, right? You see a lot of people commenting on like the videos and stuff like that, if you're one who reads the comments and stuff. But like when I'm watching content, especially like political content and stuff like that, I think like, is this really what the general public thinks? You know what I mean? And so that was one of my motivations in getting into going out and interviewing people, was to figure out what people actually think, right? Because it's really hard to know these days, and it also, like you said, people like to share their opinions. So I feel like it gives people the opportunity to do that, which is really cool.
Yeah, especially in a setting that's not high stakes, or there's not a right or wrong answer. There's just
you're not on an interview on 60 Minutes or anything like that.
Yeah, we're not going to go through everything you say and check receipts and do all that. It's, you have an opinion and you can talk about it, and we're willing to listen. So,
it's a good exercise on just the free speech thing too. I feel like that's super important. Like I said, just allowing people to have their voices heard, instead of just listening.
Yep, I agree. So we'll go ahead and kind of play you the interviews we went through. Just kind of put them all together, and then you can watch them for yourself. We asked 3 simple questions. What do you think the U.S. is a high or low trust society? Why? And how do you think trust could improve? And the reason the third one is, how do you think it can improve, is because it can always be better. We weren't asking that because we assumed people would say low. We actually had people say high. So we had all types of answers, and that was really just, there's always a place for improvement. So it's kind of what we were going with. So I guess we'll go ahead and roll the clips. All right, we're here with
Jim.
Okay, do you think the U.S. is kind of like a high trust or a low trust society right now?
Right now, I think it's a high trust society because of our president.
Okay, so that was the second question: is what exactly do you think kind of makes it a high trust society right now?
Well, I like the way in which the president's moving our country. I like everything that's going on. I dig the economy coming up. I like that. It's just a high trust society. I like what he's doing.
Okay, so you think like the trust in government's kind of on the rise?
right now, yes. If someone else was in, I wouldn't think that. I'd be totally opposite of that.
Okay, great. And then the final question is, what do you think, like, how can we keep improving, do you think?
Keep common sense in our society.
Okay.
Common sense is what we need to be about.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you for your time, Jim.
You're welcome.
All right, we're here with
David.
And Monica?
David and Monica. All right, do you think the U.S. is a high or low trust society?
Hi.
I trust our citizens more than our government, unfortunately.
Interesting answer. Okay, and the next follow-up is why do you think what you think?
Because the citizens are the ones that's supporting everything, and the government is the ones that's running everything into the ground.
You answered my question very good, but absolutely, as a, I bleed red, white, and blue, and love my country, and we just need to get it back. We need to scrape away, and even if we start from the very beginning, just scrape all the fat off, and let's get down to the meat.
Great. Okay, that was a really good answer. And the final one is what can we do better, do you think, to make us more of a high trust society?
Work together. Quit being so trivial about the small stuff, and everybody work together.
Absolutely, absolutely. No color, no race.
Right.
Guys, come on. We are all human beings. We have got to. I mean, I wouldn't feel safe sitting in Nashville right now. I am in Murfreesboro. It's we got to start trusting each other. We have to start being honest with each other. We got to quit being haters.
We're here with
Robbie.
All right. And do you think the U.S. is a low or high trust society right now?
Medium.
Medium? Okay. What makes you say medium?
Because you have people you can trust, but it's all over the place right now.
Okay.
People, I seem to end up finding myself more worried about other people and other thoughts rather than myself. And I think if I worried more about myself and stopped trying to bring everybody else's stuff into my world, I think I would be in a better place. So maybe I really just need to trust myself.
Okay, so it sounds like more like the small circle trust is pretty high right now, but maybe like larger, maybe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe like government or institutions or even just larger outside of your circle is a bit hazy.
Everything as it gets bigger gets hazy.
That's a good answer. Yeah, yeah. And so what do you think could be done to kind of improve this trust where it's lacking?
Just talking to each other, do stuff like this, look at people in their eyes, and a total different world when you're having a real conversation.
So just talk to each other and understand each other and listen.
Yeah. Like if you, listen like you want to, don't just wait for your turn to talk, so.
All right, we're here with
Jose.
Jose. All right, Jose, do you think the U.S. is a high or low trust society?
Medium.
Medium? Okay, what makes you say that?
Well, depending on what part of the society you're looking at. If you're looking for the government, it's half.
Okay, so like maybe small scale is probably a higher trust. You trust your friends, family, close circle.
Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe do you have what makes it a lower, what brings it down to medium for you?
Well, here, because everybody, all the life is in a rush.
Okay.
Nobody's ever full, complete friendship with all the people.
People are looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
So it makes it hard for them to look out for others.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you can, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry, it's okay.
Okay, if you could improve, what do you think we could improve to make it a higher trust?
Well, it's hard here because everybody moves when they grow up. So most of the people I know, they are from different parts of the country. So, you lose connection with the people you knew from your childhood.
Okay.
So pretty much of my friends I know, they're my friends since childhood. So probably you're from Tennessee?
Ohio.
You see?
Yes. I moved down here. But yeah, okay. So it sounds like maybe, the higher trust is more easily accessible with friends and family who stay close and keep an actual interest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Yes, tighter community. So a tighter community can lead to a higher trust society.
Yeah, that's true.
So people listening to each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. We're here with.
Crystal Springer.
All right, Crystal, do you think the U.S. is a high or low trust society?
Low.
Low? Okay, what makes you say that?
I just think that we're kind of living in chaos right now, and there's a lot of negativity, like on the news and things like that, and that just really affects people and their mental health. So I think it's really just everything that's kind of being put out there is really affecting people in a more negative way.
Okay, so like a low trust in institutions and the media and mainly media and stuff like that, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. How do you think we could kind of improve on that?
Be kinder to each other and put out more positivity. More things that you share that are positive or enjoying little things in life.
We're here with
Audrey.
Audrey. Do you think the U.S. is a high or low trust society?
I'd probably say low trust.
Okay, what makes you say that?
I think that we are generally pretty afraid of the people around us, and we shouldn't be, but I think that that's the vibe.
Okay, I think that's a fair assessment. How do you think we kind of improve on that?
I think just trusting those around you and seeing the best in people, just being more optimistic.
And more communication and to understand each other.
No, yeah, and send out good, you get good back.
Okay, we're here with.
My name is Seth.
Nice to meet you, Seth. We're just wondering, do you think the U.S. is a high or low trust society?
Have to go with low.
Okay, what makes you say low?
I would say more often than not, if you are leaving your house for work in the morning, you're going to be locking your doors. If you ride your bike somewhere, you're going to be bringing a bike lock. If you're leaving your car, you're going to be locking your car. Mostly because you're afraid that if you don't, there's a very probable chance someone will break in and do something.
Okay, that's really, I like that answer. It's a really good answer, really well thought out. Why do you think that is? Like, what's causing that, do you think?
I think a lot of it is due to maybe some, and I'm not up to date on crime statistics, but like maybe back in decades past, crime was rather high. I believe the 70s was rather high crime rate, and even though it's been dropping generally over the years, people still have that idea of crime is still high, crime is still probable, and if you don't protect yourself, you'll be sorry for it, essentially.
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Okay. What do you think we can kind of do to maybe improve that?
That's a very hard question.
I'm not sure.
We understand that.
That's one question. Like everybody wants to know.
We could solve all the problems if we had that.
I guess my answer would be very vague, very general. Just a stronger. You'll notice areas that have very high trust. For example, if you have like farm stands, like in very rural communities where people. For example, you leave produce out like eggs or something like that, and you take the eggs and you just trust somebody will leave money there. Yeah. More often than not, it's very tight-knit communities where kind of everyone knows each other. Okay. So familiarity, exactly. Yeah. So if you have high familiarity in an area, more likely than not, you're going to have a higher trust society, I would say.
Awesome. So kind of increase familiarity, maybe get to know your neighbor and come down, not to put words in your mouth if correct me if I'm wrong, but like kind of like, maybe unplug, maybe kind of get to know your neighbors. And like my parents' generation, they'd ask their neighbor for a cup of sugar. Like, like nowadays I wouldn't. Like something I think of.
I don't even know my neighbors. And I've lived there for almost 5 years. I do not know them.
I live 5 feet away from my neighbors. I don't know their names.
I think we live in such an anonymous and litigious society that...
Give this man a quarter.
This is the man you need to speak to. He will hit you with them hard words.
I think that we live in such an anonymous and litigious society that we are kind of disconnected from the idea of a community.
Okay.
So synonymous with society. Like we live in a low trust society because we don't know and consequently trust our neighbors, because it's all about the verification of that trust, and the contractual nature of that trust.
And I just to propose something that I just thought of. Do you think that's kind of influenced through maybe the media, or kind of like it's exacerbated by the media, like we've kind of have stopped talking to each other and then let media, whether it be social or legacy, kind of influence our thought on our neighbors?
I think it is exacerbated by the media. I think that hysteria and panic sells in the media. At the end of the day, it's a matter of the composition of the culture of a society. If it's a rural community where we know each other and everyone's grown up or known, families and whatnot, much more understandable that it would be a trusting society. If it is a fractional society where there is a lot of movement, a lot of migration, a lot of people coming and going, a lot of anonymity, where there is kind of more chaos to the composition of that society, then there's going to be a lower element of trust, just because you have to rebuild that trust. I've always been a believer that trust is earned and not given, and that can vary based upon the composition of any given culture.
And if you guys got to go, you can go by any means. I don't mean to keep you here, but that's really interesting. You say that in terms of like the fluidity of people moving around and new experiences, and it's so easy to do that nowadays, whereas maybe 50, 60, 70 years ago it was a bit harder to pick up and move and just go somewhere new, so people kind of got accustomed to who was around them. Do you think in our new age of being able to just kind of pack everything up and go, that this is just kind of something that just comes with the territory, or do you think we can combat that lower trust through effort or through whatever means?
I think you can combat anything through effort. I think the easier thing to do is to go toward a state of continued entropy and chaos, and where you are losing trust in your community and placing trust in contract and enterprise and things of that nature, versus investing time, effort, relationship, communication with neighbors, with community, with small business, instead of that investment going toward other things.
Like big corporations is what you're saying?
Like big corporations, exactly.
I feel like we need to get away from big corporations and go back to the mom and pop shops.
Okay.
I feel like that
Definitely.
right there builds a stronger community to me than going to just shopping at Walmart, for instance, or Costco or something like that.
There's a lot of community at Walmart.
There is.
Man, I used to work there. That's something else.
People of Walmart.
But no, seriously. Like, we really need to get away from big corporations, and I think that's where America's heading. I feel like America's more of a show to the rest of the world than it is serious, in my opinion. How to get out of that, I do not know.
$1 million question.
That is exactly it. Hell yeah.
All right.
I think it like any other life choice, where you sacrifice in one area for convenience in another. You buy the bottled Nestle water because you're sacrificing the microplastics and the everything that Nestle has done as a company against human rights and all of that for the convenience of a bottle of water, and that's something that you do sometimes.
For ease and simplicity.
Ease and simplicity, and then sometimes you go down to a small hardware store because you like the guys there, and maybe you pay a few extra bucks, but you appreciate the fact that they're good people that are putting up a good business. Who have a genuine interest and a genuine knowledge about the subject that you're asking them about. And you're investing in their time and their knowledge and their understanding, basically seeding back into the community. And yes, you may sacrifice some money, you may sacrifice some time to do that, but it's about what's important to you.
Gotcha. So we need to start reprioritizing that allocation of resources and effort and attention.
If that's a change that we want to make, we absolutely have to sacrifice in other areas to invest in that.
So there we have it. I mean, yeah, pretty fun stuff.
Yeah, that's what people had to say.
Everyone was very friendly.
Yep.
That was a lot different than Nashville. Nashville was fun, but we definitely had some very skeptical people in Nashville.
Yeah, I think a lot more people were willing to, engage in Murfreesboro for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what some stuff we saw, what kind of stood out to us. I mean, really, we saw answers that ranged from, we had some people say they have a higher trust in the government with this new administration. We saw some people say, they feel like it's low trust because of the division. And they brought up, some of those. I think one of the ladies, she brought up racial division. There's some people saying, low trust because it's difficult to place roots in an area now because people just pick up and leave. It's a lot easier, a lot more fluidity in living, just people moving in and out.
You don't get that sense of community, like a tight knit community that you would. In like a small town where everybody's sticking around for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of small towns, those mom and pop shops. We had a couple people talk about that.
Yeah. The one guy, he's talked about how that goes into community too. Yeah, he was talking about how having more small businesses kind of would add to possibly a high trust society, which is interesting. Yeah.
So, a lot of good answers. A lot of answers that I thought people actually, some people actually really thought them out.
And, a lot of interesting takes.
Yeah. So, it was great hearing everybody. So then what we do now is we kind of give our positions or thoughts on said topic. Ethan, you kind of want to get us started on that?
I can, yeah. I guess if you were asked me the questions, I mean, I've already obviously been through. Yeah. So, okay. Here.
Hey, I'm here with, what's your name?
You don't have to
No, we're doing the interview. Hey, what's your name? No, I'm not going to share my mic, but you got your own mic. What's your name?
My name's Ethan.
Okay, we're here with Ethan in Murfreesboro. Do you think the U.S. is a high or low trust society?
I think it varies depending on where you're at.
Okay, interesting. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that?
Because every community is a little different, right? And I think community is the main thing that plays into either a high or low trust society. And every community is a little different. So, for example, right? I live in Murfreesboro. I work in Franklin, Tennessee. For anybody from Tennessee or Middle Tennessee, at least, probably knows the difference. For people who don't know, so Murfreesboro is a pretty big city. I think population of around 100,500 people, 150,000 people, something like that, give or take. Franklin's, I mean, it's big, but not as big. And so in Murfreesboro, I actually have had my car broken into overnight. Mm-hmm. And so obviously I don't leave my car unlocked anymore. I don't know why I did. I probably just forgot because usually I lock my doors at night. Yeah. But I didn't that night. And sure enough, somebody broke in and took a bunch of stuff out of my center console and all that. However, working in Franklin, sometimes I'll leave my car there overnight because my girlfriend also works in Franklin. So sometimes we'll drive home together. We get off at the same time, blah, blah, blah. And so sometimes I won't lock it. And I never feel like it's going to get either broken into or stolen. I'm never really worried about leaving my car overnight somewhere, right? I wouldn't feel the same way in Murfreesboro. So anyways, that's one of the reasons why I feel like it really depends on where you're at in America, because America's huge, a lot of people, a lot of different cultures, even within itself. And with that, I feel like it allows the high and low trust to kind of vary throughout the country.
Gotcha. So yeah. So primarily what you're looking at is community style load varies the trust level. So
well, community kind of incorporates a lot of things, right? So you can talk about
people around you.
Yeah, the people around you. You could talk about the schools, because the schools in each community are taught by the people who live in that community generally, right? Have teachers driving 50 miles a day to go teach at high school. You know what I mean? That's not very economical.
Yeah.
Also the police departments and stuff, you got, different cultures within each institution, within each community. Right. So it's not just about the people, it's about institutions in the community. Yeah. I mean, and then if you could kind of zoom out from that and you're looking at news and stuff like that, you got your local news channels, each kind of conveys things a little differently too, so Yeah, so I mean, but generally, like you could kind of lump all that into community, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah,
Whereas
so-
like it really depends on the community that you're in, I think, as far as if it's high or low trust.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely an answer that's more nuanced. It's
Definitely nuanced.
It's difficult to just say, yeah, the U.S. is high trust, or yeah, it's low trust.
Right.
I think it's depending on what factors you're considering.
Mhm.
So usually the factors that determine the trust in a society, you've got like trust in government, trust in police, trust in institutions, trust in your neighbors, and those are kind of almost the pillars of determining the trust within that society. And I think you're spot on when you say, like, the further you go out, the harder it is to trust the broader people because of what's that connection you've got with them.
Right.
So I think you're very correct in saying these smaller communities have the greater opportunity, doesn't always mean it's true, but a greater opportunity for more trust because you are more likely to know the people around you. You're more likely to, the news is more likely to be focused on stuff going on because, in my opinion, I think news plays a big part of it, media. We all know my probably almost unhealthy distaste for the media.
Legacy media.
Yeah.
Or social media
both,
even. Yeah.
Both.
For all media.
Yeah, so I tend to lay the fault of because my perspective. Go ahead, ask me the interview questions.
You only asked me one of the questions.
I asked you two. Why? I shortened the second question.
Oh,
Why?
okay. It's like I only remember
Third one.
one
Okay,
question.
okay. All right, Ethan. How do you think it could improve? That's a long one.
That is a long one. Yeah.
We'll come back to that. Ask me the questions because we're going to be jumping around a lot.
All right. Hello, everybody. We're here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, with what's your name?
Pass.
All right, we're here with Mr. Pass. All right, Pass. What do you think the United States is a high or a low trust society? Why?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a really smart question. I think it's a fantastic question. I think it's probably one of the greatest questions that's ever been questioned. And to answer your question, I should have added a Trump voice into that.
Well, you should have called me a bad reporter. So you're a terrible reporter.
Okay. Well, I'm a little biased, but I have to say it's a very high trust society. No. Honest answer. I think.
Why don't you ask me fair questions?
Look at this. The media, they hate me. They hate me. What a stupid question from a stupid reporter.
Oh, shit.
It gets me every time I see that one. So, no, for a real answer, long answer varies. I agree. I think it's very depending on the scope, it's variable. But I think the short answer is I think it's a low trust. I'm more inclined or less inclined to trust somebody or the institutions or what I'm seeing in the news or even the government than probably I should. Well, I don't know. It depends. But I definitely consider more below. And for me, the major factors in that are oh wait, you gotta ask me why.
Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting. Why do you think that?
Boy, I'm so glad you asked. I've got an answer for you. So why?
You're gonna actually give me an answer?
I'm actually giving you an answer. No, I'm actually giving you
a bunch of stuff that you've done.
The media is the enemy. No.
Yeah, just give me a bunch of things you think you've done well that have nothing to do with what I asked you.
Well, I'm glad you asked my opinion on that.
We've had zero people across the border. Like, okay, what about the low trust society, though? All right.
Boy, it's such a high trust society now that nobody's crossed my border.
Now that I've implemented so many tariffs.
Now that nobody can afford anything, I think it's fantastic.
Shit. Okay. That's funny.
Anyway, real answer why. I'd probably have to lay it at the feet of media. Media mostly. I think media can. The reason I say media is because I think media has the greatest impact on all the other pillars. The media's perception and what you consume as news can kind of determine your outlook on everything else. So if you're in a small area and the media is out here drumming up fear of your neighbors or people moving into the community or whatever it may be, you're less likely to trust the neighbors and trust the people, all stemming from what the media is telling you. Same thing with everything else. If the media is telling you, hey, look what the government's doing bad, and they hate you, all this stuff, it's like it's chips away and erodes at that trust. So ultimately, I mean, I do think there are problems in every pillar, I would say. But I think media is the one that can impact all of them the most, because obviously institutions impact the other pillars, the government, police, all those impact everything else. But I think none of them can do as much damage and as quickly as the media can, given the time. And yeah,
sure. No, yeah, I could agree with that.
So, I would like to see us kind of move back towards a high trust society, but it's really difficult. There's a lot of things that would have to change and have to be very dramatic changes. And I just don't think...
let's jump into the third question then.
Okay.
What are those changes, do you think? Hit me.
All right. I think we need to cancel CNN. Get rid of... Cancel a news network. Get rid of them. Fox is the greatest news source ever to exist. Greater than the news press or printing machine. Boy, what great people to invent the printing press. Probably Republican. Really innovative.
We have the best printing presses.
Looking at our printing press.
China has some printing presses. Ours are better, though.
Look at them. They have those little Chinese hands that just are able to. They do it. I've seen it manually. It's their little child hands, and then just pick them up and they put the letters. And look at those letters. I don't even know what those letters say.
I have a great relationship with President. What's his name? Xi. But our printing presses are better. Okay, we're done.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Enough of the impersonations. Why? Yeah. Oh, okay. So why don't I break it down per pillar or per kind of major thing? I don't think the pillars are kind of like. I think you ask 10 different sociologists the same question, you're going to come up with 10 completely different answers. Sociology is a scam. Changed my mind. Yes and no. I studied sociology, so I've been in the middle of the beast. It is weird, and that is probably a topic for another time. But anyway, I think it changes a lot, but I think for the most part we need to agree on the kind of like those pillars I established, institutions, police, government, and neighbors and stuff like that. Police, you can kind of maybe lump in with institutions or government, but in media kind of maybe can get lumped in with institutions at times. It's just depending on scope. For my thing, I'm going to try to address each one individually. I'm going to start with police. I think police probably have the lowest kind of impact because they're really just enforcing laws, or should be. And I think we've gone through this. We went through a cycle where recently we had very low trust in police. Think pre George Floyd. Think pre-COVID. The trust in police. Defund the police. There's a lot of distrust. And then I think body cams came out or became more widespread. And I think the trust in police is on the rise because we're getting a lot of this footage that is pretty eye-opening to what they have to deal with. Don't get me wrong, there's still bad police officers. There's bad people in every career field. I would love it if they could make stricter policing recruitment guidelines. But also they're doing a job that not a lot of people are willing to do. So I understand how they're constrained and they can't really hire the best of the best if nobody wants to be a cop.
Yeah, well, it's a highly stressful job. Yes. For sure. Dangerous. Every day you're putting your life on the line, yes. Potentially. Yes. But yeah, I'd agree. I think the body cams definitely add a level of transparency to what they're doing, which would add some trust to the people who are maybe skeptical of the police force. Yeah.
Have you seen the BLM? A lot of the BLM organizations are now calling for the removal of police body cams.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
they cried so hard about getting body cams, which don't get me wrong, I agreed with. I thought body cams were a great idea.
I think we should keep them.
Yeah, we should keep them.
Yeah.
But they're now saying they don't like them because it, quote, infringes on people's personal liberties and right to privacy and all this stuff. And I'm like, or maybe we don't like the conclusion, because there were studies done, and basically the studies were showing that since police body cam footage came out, less police officers have actually been like prosecuted. They've been found to be like in the right in a lot of these cases against officers, whether it be force, whether it be discrimination, whatever it is. It's actually gone down. It's proving that not all officers are bad.
No.
But also, I think it's great because it can catch the ones that are bad.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that sounds like a radical kind of point of view to have, as you want to just remove them now, because obviously having a body cam on a police adds transparency, which under the law, it just gives you more evidence to be able to determine whether an action was right or wrong, or legal or illegal. You know what I mean? So if somebody's pushing to get those removed, that's like should be, if you were to use common sense, like they have some sort of nefarious reasons for wanting that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
or at least interests that aren't in the benefit of the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense.
So my guess is they thought getting police body cams in there would show more police brutality and more racism and more everything. And the fact that it's done the opposite. And now they're like, well, crap. Now we have these cases where these police shootings, we can't question them because they are on footage. So it's like
exactly.
So
assuming that's why they're wanting them removed is probably a safe bet, I would say. Yeah. Which is, like I said, it's not good for the people and the actual truth. And
so so
body cams are good in my opinion.
Yes, same. I agree.
Because I've seen plenty of videos of like where cops are in the wrong. You know what I mean? It's allowed people to see that, so it's, you're seeing both. It's just unfortunately, not quite as much of the cops doing bad things as we thought. It's more of the criminals doing bad things. Go figure. But anyways,
shocker.
Go figure.
Yeah. So I guess that's my take on that one. Next one, institutions. Well, let's do government. Yeah, I'd say government. Obviously, if you can't trust the government, it's low trust society. I'd say in today's day and age, it's better to have a healthy skepticism of the government and what they're doing and the actions they're doing than to blindly accept what they're doing. But at the same time, the skepticism can poison your perspective on everything going on. People need to. I think we've got to this point in society where it's like people they're skeptical. There's healthy skepticism, and then there's paranoia and I'd say most conspiracies teeter on that paranoia. But there's obviously some ones that are, okay, but we're not going to go down that. We go down that rabbit hole every time.
We should put
conspiracy theories.
We should put body cams on the congressmen and senators.
Oh my God!
Problem solved.
Whoa! I love that idea.
Problem solved.
Problem solved.
It would, for the conspiracy theorists, it would might be like the BLM movement where they're like, oh, well, these aren't the results we wanted. These guys actually are doing something, and then it kind of shed light on the people who are just up there, insider trading and shit. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that a good idea? And we should put homeless people in turbines and have them spin them.
That's going to be, that is a fantastic idea. To anyone who's just tuning in and has never heard that idea before, that is completely 100% a real idea we have.
That's an original, that's an original inquiry theory idea.
And we think it should stand.
Trademark TM.
Yeah. We want royalties to anyone who will do that.
Original idea, trademarked.
So, I think honestly that's not a bad idea. Just a quick, because it seems to be what we're doing is giving a pillar, an example, and moving on. An example that I have of kind of like the low trust in politicians. So this one's really prevalent, and I should get the name right. Go ahead. Do you have something to add?
Oh no, we're on the subject is like transparency. Is very important for to have a high trust society. I feel like, it kind of goes into, a smaller town or smaller community. Generally are higher trust, I would say, because there's less convolution right? There's more transparency within the community. Everybody knows each other, so everybody trusts each other, right? So if we're talking about the government, any sort of transparency is going to lead to a higher trust in that government.
So this quick example of like why maybe the body cams would be a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or more just more transparency in what's going on. So this just came out like an hour ago. First off, the House just voted on releasing the Epstein files and it passed.
Hell yeah.
Yep. So I think it goes to Senate now.
Let it out.
Yes, I think everyone can agree. Let it out. Let's figure out what's going on. This is not that episode, so we might cover that next time or in a future one.
All the documents are going to be all blacked out anyway, but let it out.
So my example of like maybe the government we need, I have low trust, and I think it could be higher trust if we had transparency. Here's a perfect example, in my opinion. So the Democrat senator or representative Plaskett, yeah. She is the representative of the Virgin Islands. I didn't know they had a representative until I saw the story. Shows how much I know about government, but she doesn't vote, so that's why I didn't know. She doesn't actually have a vote in the House.
Okay, so she just kind of can weigh in.
Yeah, well, not even. I don't think she can weigh in. She sits on committees basically. So during
she's got to be part of the conversations.
Yeah. So she was asking questions about it was the 2019. They were at
Puerto Rico probably has a representative too.
Yeah, probably.
Right? Okay, interesting. I didn't know that.
So the Cohen, the House committee. Questioning Cohen on February of 2019. Turns out Jeffrey Epstein was texting a representative on the panel asking questions. The leaks, the texts were leaked. He was texting a representative and basically helping them
maneuver through the questions
to try and get Trump.
So
what they did is when this information was released, they redacted who he was texting.
Okay.
Wasn't until people went through and compared the text timestamps with people like the wide shots of the thing that they found out it was Plaskett, this lady.
Okay.
From the Virgin Islands, which kind of makes sense because he had his two islands were in the Virgin Islands. So
see, I didn't know.
Conspiracy theory time.
I had no idea where his island was.
Maybe he got her in that position. Who knows? But clearly he had direct communication with her.
Interesting.
Operated in the same area, blah, 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 whatever. That's not what we'll talk about that. That would be a fun one to talk about if we do conspiracy theories and stuff. But my point is the government themselves redacted who he was messaging. And we citizens, whoever was the person, I don't know. It's off the top of my head. I don't believe that they said who figured it out. But then they showed the footage, and you can clearly see that she's texting, and it lines up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Why was her name redacted? Transparency, people.
What was the same reason?
You don't think it's important for us to know who Jeffrey Epstein is talking to in the representatives?
Well, something's just, it's the same thing as whatever's just been all over the news with the Virginia chick, right? So, they re-released. Yeah. Well, they didn't re-release, but they brought to the attention of, they put it on the news about this letter that was already released like years ago, right, during a trial for this girl, but they removed her name to make it seem like it was a new victim, new information, right? And then anyway, so it comes, just so happens that it was a trial, and she, it was just, so they're trying to, like I said, even if everything gets released, I'm fumbling my words here. Even if everything gets released, like how much of that stuff is, been redacted or altered or, blacked out or what, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So transparency, like you were saying, is the key.
I think we could improve it by having more transparency in what's going on in Congress.
Yeah.
But this goes, let me put this here because people immediately get pissed because of examples. All sides, both sides, everyone more transparency.
Yes.
I don't like, you can, if you think the Trump administration is doing great and they're way more transparent, that's fine. They can still do better.
Mm-hmm.
If you think the Biden administration had very good transparency, that's fine. The next time Democrats are in, they can still do better. Everyone can do better.
Yep.
This isn't a us versus them. This is a U.S. as citizens deserve to know more of what's going on so we can have more trust in our government. It's simple as it is. So to move on from that one, to keep it rolling, I think the next one after that would probably be institutions. I think institutions would be kind of in the middle ground of the pack. Institutions mainly, I would say, and I'm going to separate it from media. I'm going to say institutions such as kind of like the CDC, trust in government-run organizations or programs like SNAP benefits. For weeks we've been hearing about the SNAP benefits and stuff going on there. COVID is obviously a big one. Just all of the, and then institution. I'd lump some companies in with institutions too if they have a large enough impact. So like pharmaceutical companies,
pharmaceutical companies, Walmart, companies, Amazon,
like all the large ones, like all of these, I think.
You got the education system too. That's a big one. I feel like that impacts high and low trust. You got to remember the Department of Education. And CDC, that's a good example. Definitely a good example.
I think the trust in them is an all-time low. If I had to pick a couple examples out, okay. You can pick your own examples out for why you have low trust, but I think it's a lot easier to make the case for low trust than high trust. And that's why all of our examples are low trust, is because I personally believe it's currently low trust. And I think getting high trust would be difficult. For institutions, simple to say this, but I don't know how they'd implement it. I don't have a roadmap, but maybe less focus on profits, maybe a willingness to admit fault for certain issues. I don't know, maybe some sort of vaccine, fault for anything where it needs to be, or even simple stuff like we didn't know, we weren't aware, not this double and tripling down on, no, what we said was 100% accurate and correct then. We've always been right, we're going to always be right. And then the fake of, we are for you, we're here to serve you. And it's a company at the end of the day, it's profit driven. So, and that's more for the companies, obviously CDC and stuff like that. It basically just accountability. I think accountability is the big way to increase trust.
Yeah.
Whether that
they need to wear body cams too.
Everyone wear body cams,
like for real.
See what's going on in these.
If you're
meetings.
like if you're doing a job that you're serving the public, you should wear a body cam.
There we go.
Yeah. That just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You're serving the people. You're getting tax dollars, right?
Yeah.
You should wear a body cam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least while you're clocked in, take it off to go to the bathroom or whatever.
Yeah. So it's just institutions to me. It's not as it's an issue. I don't think it's a super major one, but I think to get into the biggest ones, let's do. I want to end on media because I always like just ragging on media. So, neighbors, people around you. I think what people covered in the interview was spot on. It's difficult to trust people nowadays who you don't know, either because people are moving so much or because, honestly, I feel like, how the U.S. was isolationist in like pre-World War II, the country was. I feel like people themselves have become kind of isolationist, especially with social media around. And now you can have access to people who are not near you, but still have, like, for example, all of my friends live out of state for the most part. And I communicate with them through messaging and phone calls and Discord calls and stuff like that. So there's a lot less incentive for me to go to the next door neighbor or, go do these things. And so I think people need to, so I don't want to just reiterate what people said in the interview. It's the moving, it's not knowing where you are, uplifting your roots, getting out, and just people are coming and going, and I think that plays a part.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of like the media plays into that too, like how people are being portrayed on either social media or like just legacy media, plays a part in how you view your neighbor, right? That just makes sense. So
we just rush right into media.
Yeah, media plays a big part in all of it.
Yeah,
because that's where we get all of our information from. Unless you're sitting down reading books, it's.
I would say it's where you get like breaking news or like, current event stuff. Like books are great for educational purposes
Right,
and
exactly.
learning, and all that stuff. But media definitely is a better way to quicker way to disseminate information in terms of modern events and current happenings.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think.
I mean, aside from going out and talking to people,
yeah,
I mean that's all.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can really get information.
Yeah.
So, I feel like it's definitely a low trust, in my opinion. Regarding media, there's definitely low trust in the media.
God, it's atrocious.
Either it's and the media has done a very good job of dividing the country. Right, they've made everything that I see is left versus right now. Like it's almost like it's almost like that's all I see, and that's definitely detrimental to a high trust society. So,
yeah, I think. Like I said earlier, the media plays the biggest impact on all the others, and news outlets, social media algorithms. We've talked about this on a previous one. I think it's the outrage episode. You can take a look at that, where we kind of pinpoint issues with both. Whereas I think in the past we were more pro social media. I think now we're kind of healthy skepticism of both. They both have their issues. One I believe is an issue. I think social media's issues are a bit more fixable.
I think the algorithms need a big workover. I feel like getting people into like the echo chambers that they're in on social media, is horrible, right? And then people are going to watch whatever news channel they want, which is whatever one that they agree with, which is also an echo chamber, right? Which leads them to kind of trust highly the people that think the same thing as them, but not trust people who think otherwise.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean.
I think
which is interesting because then you go to like a small town, right? Super high trust, but it's also an echo chamber in and of itself. You know what I mean? Because you got a bunch of people living there who kind of live the same way, think the same way. You know what I mean?
So what we call that? Okay, so
like it's a high trust society, but that they like, oh, I'm not going to go to the big city. You know what I mean? I don't trust those people. You know what I mean?
I personally wouldn't call that an echo chamber. In my opinion, echo chambers are kind of like I'm blanking on the terms. Basically, what I would call that is just a cultural similarity.
Okay.
I've got a lot of people who have similar values, beliefs, and the proximity. I have a negative connotation of echo chamber.
So do I. I was saying, like these small towns are kind of, it's a high trust society, but it's also an echo chamber. You know what I mean? So
I think it's a not negative echo chamber. I think there's a difference. I think because in my opinion, echo chambers tend to be a tool to radicalize and then attack opposition.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
People can have their own opinion. So to me, depending on the definition of echo chamber, I can agree. My definition, I'd say small communities are just small, high trust areas are just communities that have like-minded values and they focus on themselves primarily. Because they allocate resources primarily to their group, their collective. They take their resources, give it to themselves to kind of benefit and help each other. Lend your neighbor a pan of sugar, or a cup of sugar. Like
you keep your sugar in a pan.
I said pan. I thought I said pound. But anyway,
I was just
maybe.
Sorry. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So if we, depending on the definition of echo chamber, I think that's not a bad way to put it. In my head, I just immediately
I just randomly like in real time had that thought while I was talking. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. You know what I mean? Like, because you think about like North Korea or something. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like a country that's its own echo chamber.
Let me amend
because they don't really.
Can I amend my definition?
Sure.
So I would amend echo chamber to include the exclusion of other ideas. I don't necessarily think a small community is excluding other ideas. I think they are
fine with their ideas.
Yes. I don't think it's exclusion of
other
interesting.
Things. All right.
So
that's better Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's so negative, is because you won't listen to outside, where I don't
Mhm.
think a small community wouldn't listen to someone from the outside. Some might not, but I think the community as a whole wouldn't be like,
Yeah, that's more.
hey, so-and-so's a X or whatever. We
Yeah.
don't listen to them.
Unless you're living in like a small, tiny cult-like town.
Yeah. There you go.
You're there brainwashing everybody.
Yeah. Cults, dude. You can watch some Netflix documentaries on those. Yeah, so I think the media just drives the majority of this.
Oh, it drives
division.
everything. It drives everything.
I think it,
the only really way you could combat that would be with good education and making sure that, and that would only fix future generations, but you just make sure kids growing up know, be like, hey, which I think it's catching on. But hey, you can't believe everything you see on the news. I've heard people saying that all the time. You can't believe everything you read on the internet. Dig into it,
which is interesting,
which
because
gives me a little bit of hope. That we could be.
They're acknowledging the problem.
Yeah, they're acknowledging problems.
I think it's a problem that didn't used to exist. I think the standard of journalistic integrity, the burden of fact checking, and the burden of truth was on news in the past. I think it's no longer.
Why?
If we look at...
Why do you think it went away?
I think if we look at legacy media, it became more corrupted, whether it's from money or from activism or whatever it is.
More money became involved.
Yeah, they kind of became corrupt, and now they go, hey, we actually get more views and more things if we do it a certain way, and blah, 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 all that stuff.
When you start out, when you're just dealing with maybe one TV in every household.
Yeah,
maybe
with 2 news stations.
And now you got a TV in every room and a computer in your pocket. They're like, oh, we're making millions of more dollars than we were. So that would bring some corruption for sure.
I think,
money.
Yeah, I think the media, legacy media, has lost that journalistic integrity to where they don't have to. It's no longer on them to, which it should be, but it's not. It's no longer on them to be factually correct or honest in their reporting. A lot of them will feign that and still say they are.
It's no longer in their financial interest to do so.
Yeah. But on the flip side, you also have people in the, I'd say, online sphere, podcast sphere, other news outlet sources besides legacy media. It is not on. They are coming up in this era where they're like, it's not on them to also prove it either. I have mad respect for the people who do take their time and do like the actual journalism
and investigating and everything. Yeah, for sure.
That's how it should be for everybody, but it's not.
Well, no, but not everybody has the time to do that.
No,
right?
But here's the thing: it's now on the viewers. It's shifted. It's shifted from the companies or the media sources or whoever's disseminating the information to be truthful, to now whoever's receiving that information needs to make sure that they are doing their own fact checking, they're comparing sources, and it's shifted it to the viewer, and I think that's wrong.
That's horrible. That leads to, obviously low trust. Like if I have to do my own research after watching something, obviously I don't trust what I read or listened to. You know what I mean? That's horrible.
Yeah,
that's a really bad thing. You want to be able to think that what you're taking in is the truth, right? Like I don't want to be lied to, you know what I mean? Like, in any situation, right? Like in just everyday life, you don't want to have to worry about every single person you go up to that's talking to you or is lying to you. You know what I mean?
High trust society would be nice. I think at a certain scale, it's unattainable. I think small scale it is, but I think we have to fight for it. In terms of, push for greater transparency, push for greater responsibility, make the effort to go learn your neighbor's name. Do the things that can lead to a higher trust in society. So,
hell
yeah. We didn't even touch on. Well, I don't think
touch on what.
Well, when we talk about trusting neighbors, I think crime plays a part in it, but that's a whole can of worms.
Well, it's a can of worms, and that's freaking obvious, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, crime. Obviously, we can touch on it real quick.
No, I think we're good. I mean, it's a whole. I'd like to do an actual episode.
Like
on
higher crime is going to be lower trust. Obviously, lower crime is going to be higher trust.
Yeah.
And there you go.
So, well said, Ethan.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's a good point to cut it there. Thank you guys for listening. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, do the things, press the buttons.
Yeah,
It helps
comment.
us
Do you
a
think
lot.
we're a high or low trust society?
Yeah.
Do you think we're giving you guys some good points, or if we're just idiots? Leave it all in the comments.
We will get some comments about how stupid we are.
Oh, I know.
All the time.
I've read them.
Yep. So
I'm just egging them on.
Yep. Yeah. Right. It's just more engagement. We love it.
Yep.
Rage bait farming.
It's not why we do this.
No.
But anyways.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.